everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our virtual college visit series. We are very fortunate to have Mr. Chase Perry with Virginia Military Institute with us here today to share some great information about their institution. So Mr. Perry, thank you for being here. I do want to remind everybody, if you do have any questions throughout the presentation today, make sure you put them in the chat. You could put them in throughout or at the end, and we will make sure that we get to any questions that you might have. My name is Mrs. Edwards. I'm the career counselor with both Atlee and Patrick Henry High Schools. We also have Mrs. Corbin. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mrs. Corbin. I'm the career counselor at Hanover High School and Mechanicsville High School.
And then, of course, we have Mr. Chase Perry with VMI. And Mr. Perry, I will go ahead and hand it right over to you to get us started.
Okay, thanks everybody. Like Ms. Edwards said, my name is Chase Perry. I'm Assistant Director of Admissions here at VMI. And so first off, we'll tell you just a little bit about VMI for those of you if you're not familiar with VMI. What you can kind of see that sets us apart. We're the oldest state-supported military college in the United States. So we're founded in 1839, so one of the 6 senior military colleges in the U.S. located in Lexington, Virginia. So just a quick trip up 64 and down 81, about 2 hours from you folks. 1,700 students total enrollment, different degrees, Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Art programs. We'll talk about those in a second. Student faculty ratio is 10-to-1. We do require all of our students to take an ROTC course, whether they are commissioning or not. So all of our students are part of our, all of our students take part of our Corps of Cadets. They wear a uniform every day. They participate in our Corps of Cadets. They participate in an ROTC class, just like any other school would participate and have a graduation requirement in a math or an English. And all of our students live in a barracks setting. We're NCAA Division I. We compete in the Southern Conference. And so what you can expect kind of mirrors what we're looking for in a student. So what you can expect as a structured, disciplined, very challenging Spartan lifestyle. All of our folks, again, they live in the barracks and participate in that, but you're not just going to class. You have different requirements throughout the day, different duties, whether that's militarily or through different 3-year classes, but you're not just going to class. There's different parts of the day that are designed to take part for military duty, both the first year and beyond, but particularly that first year. And what we're looking for is physically fit, honorable young men and women who are leaders in their community, in their school and local community. So we're looking for folks, for me, I look for folks that are balancing the extracurriculars with the academic success, because we're going to keep you pretty busy when we get you here. So we're going to push your limits on time management and leadership skills. So the more you're developing those skills at the high school level, the easier of an adjustment it is when we get you here. Not easy by any means, but easier. ROTC, we mentioned that. We do offer all 4 branches here. We have the Army, Air Force, and the Navy Department that also has a Marine option. We have some folks that are beginning the process, and we'll be beginning the process towards commissioning in the Space Force down the line. We also have a Coast Guard option. So if folks are interested in the Coast Guard, just because we don't have that program, there is a direct commissioning route through the Navy if you're meeting all the requirements there. So over 50% of our students are accepting a commission afterwards. So 50 to 60% of our folks are commissioning in the military after graduation. And that is the biggest difference between us and, say, a Federal Service Academy, is that commissioning is optional. ROTC scholarships are available, and we'll talk about those in just a second when we talk about the financial aid side of VMI. Academics at VMI, what oftentimes gets lost literally in the shadow of the military aspect, and this picture here of the Osprey landing on the parade ground is a good example of that. What literally gets lost in the shadows of the military aspect is our size and what that allows us to do academically. We're considerably smaller than other schools that are going to offer all 4 ROTC programs, are considerably smaller than the other senior military colleges that you're going to look at. So only 1,700 students. We have a 10-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Professors know who you are, know what you're doing, really vested in you and your success. A lot of them double as TAC officers in barracks. They coach club sports, somehow involved in cadets' lives outside the classroom. Really helps build that small, tight-knit community type feel that I think all schools have a semblance of, but we're really magnified here because we have the size and the military both in the same place. So that's one thing that to take a look at. You'll see our majors. We're not overly specific with those majors because of our size. We only have 14 majors. A couple reasons for that. You'll see English, business and economics. Business economics is not just communications or the marketing side. It's not just a finance part of a business and economics. It's a whole realm. And then what we really stress is that through these majors, you can get really specific with some minors and concentrations that we'll talk about in a second. But the reason we do that, 18 to 22-year-olds sometimes change their mind, believe it or not. So we don't want to put you down too narrow of a path too early. So we want to keep your options open. But also with over 50% of our folks commissioning in the military, you may or may not use your major right off the bat, depending on your branch, your job within that branch, and the need within that branch. So we want to give you different skill sets that let you take advantage of options and opportunities, both in the military, but when you start looking at transitioning into the civilian side. So no matter what major you take, everyone here takes a writing intensive course. Everyone takes a public speaking course. Everybody takes boxing and survival swimming at some point in their 4 years. And one of those four, I like to use those as our example because I think one of those four will get the most well-rounded student out of their comfort zone at some point in their cadetship. I mentioned the minors and concentrations. If you look at these 14 majors and you don't necessarily see the career path that you had in mind for yourself, both in the military or out, don't be alarmed. I urge you to look at some of our minors and concentrations. One of the heavy examples that I use is a criminal justice degree. We get a lot of questions about that. We don't have a criminal justice department, but that's not to say you can't move into those career fields through any of our majors, but particularly psychology, business. Our international studies and politics major has a national security minor that's become really popular with folks that are looking at either possibly commissioning and then going on to federal level law enforcement, the intelligence community, things like that. We have our computer and information sciences department has a cybersecurity minor that's become really popular. And we were just awarded a grant from the DoD to expand on that, us and a handful of other senior military schools. So they're seeing a large need for that. And so we're trying to fill that part within serving the community that way. But again, those are our 14 majors there. And if you don't see something that jumps off the page at you, keep in mind the minors and concentrations. Admissions. So if you're applying to VMI, if you are a senior, for seniors this year, we are not requiring the test score. We are test optional for seniors. We have not made a determination on juniors or below as of yet. That's kind of probably going to be forthcoming next semester. We'll be making that decision once we see how many folks are able to take the test and how that affected our year here with our admission schedule. But application, we have two types of application. We have an early decision and a regular decision. Early decision is for students that are able to visit. They've sat in on a presentation. They've really figured out that VMI is their number one choice. If they were appointed, they plan on coming. We consider it binding. The reason for that being the time frame is really escalated, both for the student and for VMI. Everything for early decision is due November 15th of your senior year. We get you an answer by December 15th of your senior year. And then your reservation deadline is February 15th of your senior year. So before February 15th of your senior year, if you're appointed on the early decision side, we expect you to be ready to make that decision to come to VMI. If you're not quite sure, obviously with everything going on, the lack of ability to visit schools, the process may be a little slower for folks. We encourage you to choose the regular decision. Everything for that is due February 1. We get you an answer no later than mid to late March with a reservation deadline of May 1. So it gives you a little more time to make that decision. However, we are enrolling admissions. So the sooner you get your application complete to us, we will review it and get you an answer with the enrollment side. So that's our admission side. 61% of our folks are in state. Our average GPA is in the 3.5, 3.6 range. Again, that's just average. And you'll see there are test scores in the high 11, low 12 range with the 27 average ACT when we were required that last year. This is the stats on our class, our freshman class this year. And again, for those juniors or below, we haven't made any determination on that. What we do review now that we do not have the test scores, we're looking really heavily at your academic core strength, extracurriculars, obviously, that you can participate in with the limited amount right now. But also your interest in VMI, but we're really going to look at that academic core strength. So those core courses, we're going to really look at those probably a little more in depth than we have in the past without the test scores to lean on. Financial aid, over 80% of our students are receiving some form of financial aid, with 56% receiving need-based aid. Close to 30% are on ROTC scholarship and 17% on athletic scholarship. The ROTC scholarships, I want to talk about those. If you are, those are a separate application from VMI. You apply to the ROTC scholarship through that particular branch of the service. So you go to their website. You can begin applying for that between your junior and senior year of high school. So you can start applying for that if you're planning on commissioning, planning on serving your country through the commissioning route. I really urge you to apply for the ROTC scholarship and apply for 3 of them. You can apply for the Army, Air Force, and then you choose Navy or Marine within the Department of the Navy that you can apply for. If one of those services is willing to offer you a scholarship and pay for what equals about half of your college, that can help you choose what branch, or maybe even change your mind on which branch you originally were looking at, because it is a great financial benefit on that side. And you apply through those particular branches for that, and you even can start applying for those before you even apply for VMI. There you'll see our social media links, things like that. We urge you to sign up on those, take a look. We post some great videos of some different things there. Visits, we are doing virtual interviews right now, as well as in-person interviews at a limited amount. I would suggest if you're a senior, junior, sign up for the virtual interview. We can talk to you virtually. We can interview you, get to know you a little bit, and save that visit for when we have cadets on post and we're kind of up and running and we can show you a little bit more. This past fall, we were able to have 6 open house programs. I hesitate to even call them open house programs. Typically, our open house program is an overnight stay. It's a day and a half. You see a lot more of campus than what we were able to offer this past semester, and probably will be able to offer the next. But we were planning on having some this spring. There'll be 1 day, Saturday only. They'll be limited in space. We do everything kind of above board and beyond with the safety part. We're trying to keep our cadets safe as well as our prospects. So you'll come in, get some really good information from our dean. On the academic side, our ROTC folks, you'll get to see a parade and just have a little bit of interaction with a handful of cadets. But again, that's if you hear folks that have already been to an open house and did the overnight side, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to offer that. Hopefully down the road we can, but that's a really great program when we're able to offer that. But with that, I'll open it up to questions. I'll